All right, I have decided I'm gonna do the second part. It's actually something that I have to do on Arnold Schwarzenegger on his Austrian birth town Thal, and I am gonna also mention a near city of Austrian Thal, with which I suppose I don't actually have physical proofs about it, but I don't see how this would not match Arnold Schwarzenegger's order to the Austrian politicians from Vienna. I think that Arnold Schwarzenegger finally hoped that he will keep me at bay from going into Austrian Thal uh, by subjecting me to a torture, actually subjecting me to a heavy torture. Uh, it's called Judendorf Straßen. Judendorf. Ah, it's called Judendorf. That's all there is to it. And if you go and take a distance to the Judendorf, this is just next door, really next door it is. And with a car, that's going to take you 16 minutes. It's not even 10 miles from it. 13.4 kilometers it is. But if you go walking, okay, we did go walking. Um, they always took me the way you see it, claiming that it's not possible to go other ways for quite some time. Schwarzenegger was bullshitting everybody. Uh, he was going walking and stuff, and he would just drill people to do stuff that, uh, I didn't believe him. He insisted that this is the only way to get through and so on. I did go through these mountains here that you see. There is a road. Whenever the Schwarzenegger was alone, he would take me along with him straight through these hills to Judendorf. But look what they're doing, man. They make people go like all around. It's like, how can I say? I just it's the first time I'm browsing this, and immediately I see all kinds of stuff that goes on. Yeah, as Schwarzenegger was unapologetic denier of the truth. I'm deliberately using this words because I'm sure that you recognize them as something that belongs to the Equal Employment Opportunity or FBI. Um, maybe, oh yeah, very much actually to Southern Poverty Justice Center, Southern, what is it? Southern Law Poverty Supplement SPLC, what is it? SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center, right? Southern Poverty Law Center, yeah. Um, and usually is what they say, all people unapologetic anti-Semite and stuff like that. But this case is about something completely different than what became a Hollywood actor, extremely wealthy. and beyond Hollywood actor, a politician who profited enormously. Um, no, he did not. He did not profit enormously. But basically, he was built. This case actually created Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a nobody till he got on my bandwagon. Once he got on my bandwagon, then really he started to ride the wave. Without me, Arnold Schwarzenegger would be just like, no, I shouldn't say like nobody, because all these Mr. Olympia bodybuilders and all these people, I think they're great. But his entire wealth, career in Hollywood, in the world of politics, is based on a theft. It's not intellectual theft, but it's based on theft of life. It's this individual is, nah, he's not alone. There were many like this. Um, and others that were not, they started to copy him. Like Jean-Claude Van Damme, whether he liked it or not, he had to copy him. And it was the same thing with entire Hollywood, entire Hollywood. If you wanted to get somewhere, you have to follow my path. If you didn't follow, can you imagine this shit, child? If you didn't follow my path, you could just hang in there and do your bodybuilding, whatever. Maybe get some movie side role or something like this. Hollywood is all about the politics. I not from the point of view, from the perspective. Um, don't know how to explain to you. There's people in the United States. Actually, the entire U.S. system is based on it. They tell you, um, you got these politicians, presidents, and so on, and I got these politicians saying, politicians, all kinds of politicians, White House politicians, Congress politicians. I got this guy from Hollywood, and we'll meet with him, and we're gonna talk, and that kind of stuff helps to promote me, um, and vice versa. And so the question comes about in U.S. to the ordinary people about what was it first, egg or chicken? Basically, a politician or a Hollywood. And I can tell you that the Hollywood is the result of the Hollywood is a politic. The politicians created Hollywood. Hollywood is a sole product of American politics. And this is not a theory. These are facts based on somebody who had 100 doctorates from this, somebody who spent life, somebody actually who dedicated life to something like this. I just watched this here. This is interesting about some guy here in the Soviet Union that was a cook and
gripping his axe.
And he would go and be left alone to take care his camp, and the German tanks instead arrived and were gonna eat his potato, uh, basically food he was preparing for his fellow soldiers. And then he decided to take an axe and destroy the machine gun with the axe after he covered the tank with a blanket. Yeah, that stuff is possible, is what Russians in front of the Germans when they were reenacting scenes of this incident were convincing me. Because when the machine gun gets hot,
This Soviet monster.
the temperature makes one vulnerable to something like this.
Chop goes the axe. Eventually, the heat of the barrel.
You know, when it gets hot, a metal, you can bend one. This is all cool. All these stories about this World War II issues, including Tanket from Mr. Orlik from the Lodz from Poland, so-called cockroaches, Polish cockroaches, Tankets. You have to see this yourself. All this stuff was involved in it. How the Germans got 20 Sherman tanks and all these scenarios they got me in. They made me participate in it, and so on and so forth. This is not the point. The point here is something else. The point is this here, because this is about people like Schwarzenegger.
And the devastating clamoring for revenge. Deliberately, the commander removes the tarpaulin. When he
This is when I'm going to stop, and I want you to watch this.
finally escapes the clinging tarp, he looks and takes in the scene. Where are the Soviet soldiers? Baffled by what he sees, a lone Soviet soldier standing on top of his tank, aiming a Mosin Nagant at his chest. Sereda orders the rest of the Germans off the tank one by one and forces them at gunpoint to tie up their fellow soldiers. When the rest of the regiment return from the battle ready for soup, they're surprised not to see their cook by the campfire, but instead, he's holding an entire tank crew prisoner and a working but somewhat battered tank alongside. His actions were recognized by the commander of the 21st Mechanized Corps, Major General Dmitry Yelyushenko, who stated, "With his brave actions, he set an outstanding example of heroism." Sereda was assigned to scout duties after the events and would join his comrades in the front lines less than a week later. The axe he used during the engagement was kept as a memento of the 21st Mechanized Corps. Ivan Pavlovich Sereda proved to be an excellent soldier. He continued to defend his country for the rest of the war, being promoted several times and receiving many awards and commendations throughout. He would serve in the siege of Leningrad and in the Battle of Moscow as platoon commander and would later be promoted to senior lieutenant. As the man who single-handedly defeated a German tank with an axe, Ivan Sereda was awarded the Hero of the Soviet Union on the 31st of August 1941. Sereda would survive the war, but would take a heavy toll on his body.
If you wonder why I laughed about all this stuff, I wasn't laughing this because of myself, but I was laughing about it because of my grandfather. And as I watched this movie, I said to myself, like they gave a fuck about their heroes. They gave a fuck about their heroes. I'm never gonna forget how my grandfather, who really was a hero, how he ended up. Like they gave a fuck about their real heroes. Like you give a fuck about your real heroes. This ant here is more likely.
Defeated a German tank with an axe. Ivan Sereda was awarded the Hero of the Soviet Union on the 31st of August 1941.
This is more likely what's coming next.
Sereda would survive the war, but would take a heavy toll on his body. He succumbed to his many injuries on November the 18th, 1950, in his home village of Alexandrovka, Ukraine, aged 31.
So, age 31, 5 years after the World War II ended, he succumbed to his injuries. You know, That's like more likely. But you know, um, this is what we are here at. We aren't here because of the Castles. We aren't here because of many other issues Russians, you know, blame pushed down on me as my being guilty of whatever. These are the main reasons why we are here at. I was not the only one who did not believe in Soviet Union and in Yugoslav Federal Federation. I don't think people believe in it anymore, man. When you see children doing stuff like this to the children of a real World War II heroes, their heroes, then you know there's no fucking reason for such a country to exist. Because I don't think the people want to exist like this. Now, saw me going over this page here. The purpose of this movie here that I played to you is the world we live in. If you care for truth, and I'm gonna stress you something else here about this stuff. These are things why I got so disgusted with the United States of America. You didn't understand me. You couldn't understand me. You didn't understand anything about me. Why I was so mentally ill, so stupid. Why I didn't like anything about it. The thing is, the people who did this, talking about Americans, they understood everything what they did. And as time goes by, every day, and they continue to lie and misrepresent reality about this world, they know they lie every second. And they know America is a lie, such as this. And no wonder America faced and is facing catastrophic issues that are touching a very core of the country, existence of the country. The politicians, are the people. If I take George Bush as an example, that do their business, they do their stuff, they don't give a fuck. They do whatever is convenient for them, but this is entire Hollywood does the same thing. They copy things. And then nobody cares about people anymore. And nobody cares about the country anymore. And this is like for Americans that know exactly what I'm talking about. Old abandoned buildings. When I came to the United States of America, to Miami, when I came to Miami in '95, I saw these beautiful buildings. I saw these beautiful buildings that some of them are actually historical, and they just wouldn't care for these buildings. I wasn't crazy about castles only. This wasn't the thing. I just liked old buildings. I liked the history of the buildings, and I always felt that they need to be preserved. That there is. I don't think you can get idea about things if you don't get the smell, if you don't get the view, if you don't touch the stones, if you don't get the feel about something, a real idea about the world you're in. I think this is the only way to get it done. I don't know. It's the same thing like with a woman. It's the same thing with everything else. I mean, you have to literally see it to, very, very often, people are not that fortunate because of misfortunate circumstances and only get to read about things. And the only thing they would do is they wouldn't even bother to take the fucking building down. Talking about now non-historical buildings in Miami downtown, let's say. They didn't even bother to take the fucking building down, clean it up, and put a new building because the land was so much cheaper for developers that once the building depreciated in its value, they would start erect new building right next door. Wow, I was against that shit. I didn't like that stuff. But this is basically entire United States of America the way it was built. We had politicians that just go and they just fucking abandon their communities, their stuff. They go, they get in, they do the stuff, they do the, like make the shit all over the place, and then the only thing they do is sit in the car and they move from Texas to I don't know New Hampshire or some other place. They just disappear basically, and it's like fuck you, you know. I see you when I fucking see you, and you better be happy to see me because by the time I come back, it's gonna be 10 times worse. This is never was the type of politic that I was motivated in. This is what I always was against. I always I never saw myself in it. My idea about things was always, you know, I am not going to be talking about things the way I would want. Is already enough damage that was done to me. Um, Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of the biggest, um, I say, forgeries. Um, but that doesn't really matter, you know. It doesn't matter, you know. You know why I hated the U.S. You know, I started to hate the U.S. because one of the biggest forgeries in this world, one of the biggest lies that I came across in this world was Arnold Schwarzenegger. There is no doubt about it. Um, but this is the thing about United States of America. If you want to learn about United States of America, you want to learn about Dwayne Johnson's and you want to learn about all this Instagram kinks, bodybuilders.
When I came over here a week before Thanksgiving, there was a man that reached out to me in the gym. And he said to me, he says, "You're by yourself, you're a foreigner. I barely can understand you." He says, "Why don't you spend Thanksgiving with us, with my family?" And I said, I had no idea what Thanksgiving was. I said, yeah. So on Thanksgiving, he saw me again in the gym. He says, "Okay, you ready to come?" I said, "Sure." And he took me over. His name is Bill Drake.
And he gets a kid like this, and he dupes him, you know. And if you look at the kid, and if you look at this kid, look at him.
Thanksgiving with us, with my family. And I said,
Look at him. It's like everything you say is like yeah.
I had no idea what Thanksgiving was. I said, yeah. So on Thanksgiving, he saw me again in the gym. He says, "Okay, you ready to come?" I said, "Sure." And he took me over. His name is Bill Drake. Lives now in Hawaii. He's now 80 years old. But I mean, that guy took me over to his house. I met his father and his mother. And they gave me the most extraordinary turkey dinner with desserts and this and that. It was like unbelievable. That is a generosity of the American people and of that family that I will never forget.
Yeah, you know why I hate the United States of America so much? Because the truth doesn't even matter. When you talk nice to the people and people eat bullshit, Even if it's lies, if it's nice, why not? And that is United States of America. And that is the difference between the real deal and the Arnold Schwarzeneggers. Schwarzeneggers, not Schwarzenegger. Many American officials, state officials, politicians came in my face and they admit it. America is a lie. One thing Arnold Schwarzenegger admitted me to. This was one of the longest involved people in MK Ultra, the Trollololo boy. The Trollololo boy, Trollololo man, imitated the politicians. This is what the politicians back in the day. This is what the fuck this was. La 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 la. Didn't do a fucking thing, but everything was la 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 la. And the new politicians, the new breed of politicians that came out of Hollywood, probably not really. They had Arnold Schwarzenegger already before visiting Moscow. Arnold Schwarzenegger did not even. Arnold Schwarzenegger was very late. He became very late. He was very, very slow in doing this stuff. Hollywood always was visiting Moscow. Russia always had the need for meeting interesting whatever phenomena around the world. They were always interested in keeping it up with the rest of the world. Basically, Soviet Union is what I'm trying to say. But this was one of the biggest trollololos, according to his own words. He was a trollololo. Lolo, 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 lolo. Let me do this one here for you. Let's do this here. They say it's about. There you go. They're gonna fucking ground me because I'm using the copyrights from this video, so I'm sure. I'm certain this one I'm not gonna get away with it. He's not gonna be happy about it. But the Trollololo from Thal, a neighbor of the Judendorf, the major promoter of the Holocaust Museum in Los Angeles. It is lost. Uh, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the big of a star, never dreamed in his life. Eventually, he's gonna end up. Uh, Eventually, he's gonna end up in Moscow. And when there was a big reason why this stuff here. Thal, visitations to Thal. Uh, it is his birthplace became so important for him. He learned about basically about the world. I'm not gonna say more than from anybody else. He didn't know fucking shit about the world. The German politicians didn't know shit about the world, about the new world, how to find themselves in one. After the World War II, till this case came out about this here, this was one of the dots. They became like one of the main dots for entire Germany, Austria, and United States of America, which was moved behind absolutely everything and was just taking notes about about things. You see this restaurant here. Here in this restaurant, it was like, la 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 la, dim yum yum yum. Oh, yum 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 yum. Oh, 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 oh yeah, well, yeah. But I am talking about actually at one point in time there was actually even a well, let me see if he is somewhere else. They they he's not anywhere. Now you see Josip Brostito. That was the man who married my aunt from Montenegro, and he got a ranking of the general in the Yugoslav military. And this is from my father's side, right? Sister, whom he have married, and he was a military was his entire life. Basically, that's what military was to him. I mean, military to him was his home. That's basically, how can I tell you, this guy. That's all he did. I mean, he wore the military uniform 24/7. Um, okay, almost 24/7. Um, and I don't see him. He was an interesting character, a very tall guy. Um, I think he was like 2 meters or just about 2 meters or maybe even more. I don't know, tall. And you know, uh, the Serbs who visited this place here, uh, if you don't understand what exactly I'm talking about here, that so we don't get lost too far with it, watch part one of this. This is the part one. The Serbs who visited this place here, it was not only from Ljubljana that they would come. They on my way back to Slovenia, they literally waited with a Milan Kuchan, or it was from Ljubljana, Milan Kuchan, or it was Serbs from Belgrade. They literally waited for the village to go. Everything. They were looking at me like, "Oh, fucking kill me" every fucking time they delivered me. But when we sit in the car and they took me back to Slovenia, they just barely waited, for so that it would end, uh, the village, actually this area, residential area. And once the residential area ended, it was all about I will kill you, I will kill you, that kind of stuff. I will kill you, la 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 la, you know. That was a different kind of trollololo, right? And yeah, I was age 6 and up. I was a child. I was really, 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 really a child. It's very beautiful, beautiful stuff. The way Arnold Schwarzenegger would take care of me if I was his son.
Look, it's Turbo Man and Buster!
Kill them both! Anyone? You haven't seen the last of me, Turbo Man! I'll have my revenge! You can all...
The belt. He misses everything.
Well, he's not going to miss this. He's probably just working really hard.
Hello,
So is
Mr.
what he
Jacobs.
claimed.
Oh yes, we've been busy, but I like.
But this is not the way it was. This guy was a vampire uh, from Kremlin. This was the vampire that was hired by Moscow. The worst fucking nightmare that almost destroyed me. This individual. This individual was the most dangerous individual, the most dangerous Russian asset in the Western Hemisphere. While on some other occasions he did very well by video recording the films like Commando and stuff like that, what I was using didn't even matter to me, with his or without his permission, to morally decay, destroy Russians in Moscow during real war. During real tragedies. The reality. Nothing like this shit here. I mentioned about the mental illness. I never was mentally ill like this guy. What this guy put in. This guy, this is the film actually that obviously they watch me. What I watch, I actually even refuse to watch. I wasn't really, I don't know, a movie person. Actually, I did watch movies, but okay, with the friends. And if there's nothing better to do, the Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the US, is not healthy for your mind. Because the Hollywood is, it corrupts minds of the children, and it takes away purpose from the children, their life purpose already from the children. Turns one into something completely different. In my case, it came out as something extremely, extremely disgusting. Actually, it's so disgusting that I bet that this man cannot sleep. And I'm 100% that he's losing his fucking mind because the truth is so ugly. The truth is just so really so ugly. But he is not the only one. This is not a propaganda against the United States of America. I'm just trying to give sense to the United States of America. I'm not a sweet talker. I'm not Rock Dwayne Johnson. I'm not Arnold Schwarzenegger. And thanks God I never tried to be as one of them. But they did. These people did. These people do. Deprive people, real people, from their accomplishments, from where they should be. The worst thing what they did to me was they deprived me from the purpose, from my purpose, from the paths I was ought to follow, basically my own routes. And they would literally with a sweet talk undermined frequently. You need to know this about the Hollywood. They kill children over there. They frequently undermine with a sweet talk torture they commit. They torture, they kill people, and then they use these people that are influencers, you see, with a sweet talk to talk them into not rebelling, revolting against lie. And in this case, America is a lie. I was going to say, I'm sorry to say, fuck, I'm not sorry for anything. I'm happy to be here to serve you. This fucking place here that you see, this was it probably the most beautiful lady they had in this taverna here, the wife, and it has some really gorgeous, I think, probably two daughters. They were blessed. Um, you know, uh, going back to Slovenia, it was like I don't have to tell you about these people from Belgrade and Ljubljana more than what I did. But do you know how a grown up can scream and yell when it's like completely fucking crazy? I mean, um, my uncle that would come, and I counted on my uncle that is nowhere to be seen here. You know, he's just nowhere to be seen here in the internet anyway. Um, yeah, he's nowhere to be seen on the internet anyways. Um, guy was from Montenegro, but he loved me, you know. And um, I loved my uncle. And the thing is that when he came here to this fucking Austrian Thal, uh, he used to live with my aunt in a neighboring Maribor. It's called Maribor. So he was from Montenegro and he moved to Slovenia. He married my aunt, the sister from my father, and they used to live in the Maribor, you know. And Maribor is very close to this Thal, to this Austrian Thal, but he was very busy. He always was very busy, you know, military basically. Uh, but you know, Uh, he, over course of the time, did not know what the fuck went on inside of the family. He worked over there in the military installation. He does his shit. People like him over there. You could not like this guy. But behind it all this, there is a real fucking problem that is, you know, coming. It's a real fucking problem. And this problem is just getting fucking started, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and involves basically a child that is 6 years old, 7 years old, 8, 9 years old. You get me? I mean, and now you're his uncle, and let's go fucking see what this is, what's happening here. So he came, and I was sure that he's gonna defend me. Uh, and I don't know what they told him in this fucking place here. I just know that when we left that day, um, I noticed that he was talking with the people and very seriously, and he had like a very all day fucking long conversation, and he was even asking how he should start this conversation with me, how he should start, how he should explain to me. And once we sit inside of the car, he said, "I am gonna fucking kill you." Those are his. those are. Those are his first words. Yeah. Um, he. It was very difficult for him to come forward with, and then he just cut straight. And he just said, whatever he said, whatever I said, he stated. On our way back to Slovenia. So.
Seven discs, anyone? I'm coming, Billy!
Bit crazy song, but I like the tunes. But here's the thing. This monster fucked me on every step of the way, and it was indifferent from what was going to become my newly funded homeland, United States of America. I planned on moving to United States of America since I was already a child. And this motherfucker was turning my dreams into the fucking nightmare. Literally was portraying me as a mentally ill person on every step of the way. And all the American politicians from the time can confirm exactly what I stated. He was actually not only enjoying himself in a torture, but he was getting like the biggest kick out of torture, basically out of killing me. This is like an ultimate truth about Arnold Schwarzenegger. The American flag that he holds does one literally did pose with American flag, literally did pose with American flag to laugh in my face, suggesting me how he's taking away everything that I earned and placing on himself. And what he meant by this is he was portraying me as mentally ill, penetrated all the way to the Moscow, using me, and advanced himself throughout United States of America using me, while I did not even fucking exist. How would you like about a country like this? The best, the worst about all this was that it was American politics. Maybe not even American politics so much, but mainstream media. And for that matter, I do have to go to this city here, Judenburg, this place here, this Judendorf, not Judenburg, but Judendorf. I do have to go to this issue here, Holocaust, because I think, based on my experience, that it was exactly journalists with a Jewish background that seized the opportunity on using him basically to destroy me. He was what we say in Slovenia, fič firič prida nič. Fič firič prida nič pomeni, fič firič is just fič firič, something that makes like you would whistle, something like that. Prida nič means good for nothing, Mister. Who also was acknowledged as good for nothing with a neo-Nazi background. That's what his father was, according to his own words. It posed no threat, no danger to a Jewish world in United States of America. I should say to a Zionist in United States of America. You pose threat to the Jews in United States of America. The biggest threat that you pose to the Jews in United States of America is when your background is immaculate, when you come from the family with impressive World War II resistance background, you have an immaculate background that Jews envy. They fucking eat themselves and they fucking eat whoever they cannot get under control. They cannot control, they cannot get their fingers around, they feel they cannot control, they cannot tutor him, they cannot blackmail him, they cannot have influence on him, always use dirty stuff, and nothing is too low and nothing is dirty enough when it comes to a need to control an individual, and if for the cost of the scumbaggery that was in my case. That's exactly what it took to American Jews to turn my life into, using people like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You understand? That's why I have a big problem with American Jewry, because I know where you are coming from, and I know where you are going to, and I know how you hijack the country. I know what you turn my life into by using people like Schwarzenegger, imposters, liars, thieves. This was the ultimate tool that acknowledged me as a mentally ill. Oh, this in front of his home, yeah, long before Slovenia became independent, this murderous tool, German, lobbied for the Soviets, for the Russia, heavily. Like, what the fuck can a small guy ever be, right? A child. What the fuck is this child gonna? Never gonna fucking accomplish anything. He's never gonna make it with anything. This child. He is to be acknowledged as a mentally ill, anyways. I'm gonna go past my friends from Graz, and I'm gonna go straight behind his house, which I'm also gonna use to destroy him, to this castle, to these ruins here that at least somehow, someway they did renovate it. They did took care a little bit. Back in the day, this was not in a good shape. Well, in the video, in the part number 1, I have spoken about how I was pushing forward agenda concerning castles and the price that I paid for what Arnold Schwarzenegger used literally to acknowledge me as mentally ill. You know, I am going to only tell you this. These people that you see here, these big Slovenian heroes, but this guy whom I have promoted the most, both of them, these are the two people that I promoted more than, and Dmitry Rupel and so on, these people. Dmitry Rupel, when they would pay visitations to the Arnold Schwarzenegger, these people. And you know what happened finally? Arnold Schwarzenegger presented me in this environment of his hometown. Yeah, there is village here behind too, behind this castle. Actually, not behind the castle, but he presented me to the people. People started to embrace this political. It was completely political. He presented me as mentally ill who is only interested in a castles. He is only dreaming about castles. And I got the warnings from Ljubljana people such as Loisa Peterle and Boucher. Boucher was the one. Do not do this. Do not fucking do this to us when we go with you over there. You're gonna fucking embarrass us and so on. Do you know what it means to be labeled as mentally ill? You're going to fucking embarrass us. There will be people over there, and when we get there, we don't want that. And when I came over there, it was fucking boring. I didn't care unless I saw some good looking lady or whatever the hell I wanted. And I like Castle, this place, all nice, green place, nice nature. I want to go away from these crazy weirdos. And so the first thing I would do whenever I would come, I would just not waste no fucking time, and I would just head my way basically toward Castle. And the only thing I heard was, I told you he is fucking mentally ill. You know, I tell you that he's crazy. He's mentally ill. This is this is Arnold Schwarzenegger beginning my age 6, 7, 8, 9. He did, at the request of the Serbs who came from Belgrade, absolutely everything to choke me. He used the village to push down the throat to the people from Ljubljana, from Slovenia. Everything possible he did for them to not see themselves in me. He was killing me every fucking way. This guy was trying to fucking murder me in his own fucking hometown in Austria. The thing about it is that it didn't work because I was too fucking mentally ill. Do you see this machine here? Huh? This is called Lada. Do you see it? Look at it good. This is Lada. Lada is this here. Lada. They call it a Soviet architecture. It really was a Russian one. Because inside of the fucking Soviet Union, nobody wanted one. This here that you see is the Soviet architecture that I don't think ever existed. The Soviet architecture was based on cubes. This is like a perfect Soviet architecture, but the architecture to what we witnessed was this, basically. Dirty buildings, cubicles, with the little apartments like for the sardines inside. That's what they want to turn the whole fucking world into. This. They wanted this, basically. In Moscow and these places, in this. There was none of the stuff that would make their job of the Soviet Union, the Soviets, was to erase any kind of trace. The primary job of the Soviets was to erase any kind of trace from history of particular nation. So if you have, I don't know how many nations inside of the Soviet Union was, they were doing the same shit in Romania, in Poland, in Hungary, throughout Yugoslavia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and Chechnya, and everywhere where the Soviet Union was, they burned the fucking historical buildings in Kazakhstan and in Chechnya and Dagestan and everywhere. The job of the Soviet was to make you free. To make you free is basically for you to have a first name and last name, and those, anyhow, should be the names that are most often used. If it's only possible, you get the fucking number. That's even better than the name. Square fucking thing like this, ugly from inside. You almost is a fucking wheel, like wires, almost like you would take a fucking wire and you would bend the fucking wire and you would call this a wheel inside. This is what you get inside of the Soviet Union. This is already new one, a better model, but this is what I am talking about. I'm not exaggerating. They did this stuff deliberately, however. They did not want people to shave themselves. They did not want the alcohol was the king. But I'm not saying that they promoted alcohol or anything like this, but it was a king. Alcoholism was exploding. Alcoholism was a number one super killer throughout Eastern Europe. This was the way of life, my friend. They accented what was known as no individualism. It was um, basically they did not want somebody to fall for somebody that was beautiful. They did not want somebody to fall or a car. They all had to look equally fucking ugly. All the fucking cars are to look equally ugly. That is the law. That is the supreme law of the land, man. Now, I took you a little bit to the Soviet Union. And this is what the Soviet Union demanded from Arnold Schwarzenegger, whose dreams, however, came short. You know where? They splintered in pieces at the Great China Wall. This is when the Soviets were told to fuck off because destruction of the churches, destruction of the castles, destruction of the national heritage, cultures, which they tried to erase. That was a Soviet imperialism. There was no Soviet imperialism. It was a Russian imperialism, the same shit like a Serbian imperialism in what was known as a Yugoslavia, Yugoslav Federation. You get it? But in China, they told them clearly. They didn't tell them in Thailand or in other countries like Japan or, you know, but in China it exploded. In China it fucking exploded. They told them to fuck her off, man. They told them to fuck off. The problem was that I clusterfuck Russians so much that they wanted to prove that everything about me, because they acknowledge me as a mentally ill, uh-huh, they wanted to prove that everything about my claims, everything I do is wrong, that I'm wrong about absolutely everything. They wanted to prove that I am mentally ill to the world. And they started to climb, really, what is a great China wall, and they couldn't climb one over. I was welcome everywhere because I saw myself in. It wasn't this castle only here that I liked. I liked all the fucking buildings, everything that was old, anywhere I was impressed with. I loved everything that was, whatever part of the world I was crazy about old statues, uh, you know, whatever in the world I was really honored and really happy to see, you know, uh, the culture, the remaining whatever was, the people had to offer, as a national heritage, what they had from the past. That I thought that this was like exclusively incredible, priceless, And this is how Schwarzenegger got uppercut, knockout, together with his Ljubljana comrades who came to support in Thal, Russo-Serbian violence, basically. This is where in Thal is what they say, we're gonna break him down. We break you. And eventually they didn't break me, but the one who did eventually break me down was United States of America, that have, just as I already have explained, instead push forward a lie, refused to see itself in a truth, and continues to do that for a big part. I am not against the Holocaust. Don't get me wrong, I am not against the Holocaust. I'm not a Holocaust denier. I'm not a Holocaust denier. I'm not against the Holocaust. Um, I don't even have to say anything for what I am, what I advocate, because I was clear enough about it. I don't think anybody in the United States of America has clearly explained the truth about United States of America, not about how you feel. This is my life. I was born on December 9, 1971, and I am now 52 years old. My life was a psychiatry. That's what my life was, a guided psychiatry. Forced joblessness, and after 41 years of torture in 2013, MK Ultra torture, finally I was even thrown inside of the psychiatric hospital. So I don't think I can say that I had life. That's why I said my life was psychiatry. A lie. The reality which I accomplished to shape the world with, however, pertained to other people. So I thought that this would be interesting for you to know. Yeah, man, here in year 2000 and 2011, they started to deliver me to the Judendorf. And in the Judendorf, no, not talking about, I'm not talking about here about, um, this was different. This was not friendly at all. This was the stuff that started in 2011, 2010, involved American diplomacy and the politicians from Vienna and so on, and it was completely different. This stuff here, this was um, it was totally different. This stuff here was um, uh, they were using issues that they believe they believed will keep me away, and they did, unfortunately, because I did become hateful. I started to lock myself into issues and struggle with became something I have nothing to do with. Eventually, over the course of the time, so much brainwashed and subjected to so much violence. And worse than violence was a lie, a betrayal, basically, that they managed to create in me a certain personality that would, uh, especially because they involved torture in it, um, literally would um, prohibit me from uh, visiting, even on a map, certain locations. And with what I said, one of those was Arnold Schwarzenegger is birthed down not too far from Ludendorff. Thal Thal means valley. So this castle from Arnold Schwarzenegger is really not uh, impressive in terms of castles or something like that, but is a natural monument, and look how green is everything. This old castle, those ruins still are beautiful. They still remind of some kind of presence, something people gathered over there a long time ago. Now it's all abandoned. There is no violation of laws in seeing things like that. Folks, that's all I wanted to say to you in this video.
So Thanksgiving has now, then I didn't know what Thanksgiving was, but now it has a special meaning because of that.
And now he goes out of his way to feed as many people as he can every year as well. By the way, that full interview is at theissueisshow.com.
And it is a great interview.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for watching